Hi, I'm Kristin Judge from the Cybercrime Support Network, and it is Cyber Tip Tuesday. Thanks for joining me again today. This week, we're going to talk about money mules and how money mules are being used to steal money, especially during COVID-19. So I was talking to a friend I want to start with. I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about how are we going to stop cybercrime from impacting our economy and millions of people around the world. What's really the magic tool? And what we realized was cyber criminals keep doing it because they're making a lot of money. It's profitable. And if you live in a third world country, you make a lot of money in a very little bit of time. You could be the richest person in your community with just a few scams. So what we have to do is make cybercrime something that is not profitable. Help it become something that nobody makes any money on, and that's the way we're going to stop it. But until we do that, they're just going to keep coming up with new scams. So the best thing you can do is listen to what we're talking about today and then share it with some friends. Because the more people that talk about cybercrime, the more people that share their stories if they have been a victim and they aren't ashamed about it, then the better chance we're going to make it so that the criminals aren't making any money because we're not going to give them our money. So today we're going to talk about money mules. Basically, money mules are used by the cyber criminals to carry out their scams, to take the money in and then send the money back and sort of make it hard for people to follow the money trail. It's basically a middleman or a middlewoman, and the old-fashioned term for a money mule is money laundering. Money laundering is something that I've been hearing about since I was a little kid. It's been around forever. But now money laundering can be done by a click of a button. You can wire it from one bank to another across the world, and one criminal could be talking to thousands of people, making them into money mules all at one time. So it's a very, very lucrative business. And the stolen money is basically put into someone else's account, into the money mule's account, and then it gets transferred to another account overseas, and then the money is gone. And it's very hard to trace. There's been a lot of prosecutions of the money mules, even in the US. And these are money mules that knew what they were doing. They would take in a $500 check, they would send back $250 somewhere else, and they'd keep the $250. Usually it's a lot more money than that, but let's try and look on the good side here. But due to COVID now, unemployment scams are one way, unfortunately, that the money mules are being used. It doesn't take much to look into the newspaper, look online, and you hear that there are billions of dollars going out to Americans in need in unemployment claims, which is really important right now because so many people are out of work. Well, the bad guys see that too, and they go, okay, there's a lot of money coming out from these states and counties and whoever it may be, so they're going to jump in and try and capitalize on some of that money. And unemployment fraud happens when someone steals or falsifies your information, and then they use it to collect unemployment benefits. So recently, one of the U.S. Attorney's offices in North Carolina was able to seize over $48,000 of funds that were held in bank accounts allegedly used to perpetuate this COVID-19 unemployment fraud. So there were lots of small amounts in banks all around North Carolina. I'm sure there's billions more, but I'm sure there are a lot of good prosecutors trying to find that money. There's two different kinds of money mules. One is the willing participants I just talked about that can get arrested if they're taking in a check, laundering it by putting it in their bank, and then just sending part of it back to another bank, and then those things can get transferred to overseas, and then the money is never seen again. But sometimes there's money mules that have no idea they're being used as part of a scam. And in this unemployment scam that's going around lately, which is costing states a lot of money and the federal government, and keeping people without the checks that do need it potentially, because some of the states have had to stop giving out the benefits for a small amount of time so that they could figure out how to stop the scams. So let's tell a little story about how this could happen. Let's imagine that you get a large deposit in your bank account, or you get a check that says, here, your name on it, Kristin Judge, here's your unemployment benefits. But you think to yourself, well, I have a job, I didn't apply for unemployment. But then you get a call or an email right away that says, oh, this is the state of Michigan or the state of North Carolina, wherever you may live. And they say, That was a mistake. We want to make sure we get this money to the right person right away. Could you please transfer it to the rightful owner? We'll give you the bank information. You're like, oh, good, I want to get this to the right person. And of course, you just send it away. That's an unwilling, unknowing money mule, but that's what's been happening a lot with these scams. So it's not just unemployment that money mules are used for. It could be romance fraud, romance scams, job opportunity scams. Sometimes the criminals will say, I've got this really great work from home job, especially during COVID. If you send me, I'm going to send you, $2,000 in cash. You just have to send me back some, and then you keep some to get the business started. But then you're going to have this great job. Well, of course, no job comes out of that, and they just take the money. And yes, you say you got to keep some of it, but it's illegal actually. So if you do hold on to that, then you can be prosecuted. So it's important that you reach out to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, Federal Trade Commission, and then you can also go on fraud support to find out how to report and recover from these kinds of scams. But you need to let law enforcement know if you've been involved in this unwillingly. The Federal Trade Commission, I just mentioned, has a new blog called What is a Money Mule Scam? And they have some few key ways to avoid money mule scams. Number one, don't accept a job that asks you to transfer money. Number two, never send money to collect a prize. If you want a prize, you shouldn't have to pay for it. You want a prize, right? So if they say, oh, you won this great prize, but you've got to pay me some money first, that's not true. And don't send money back to an online love interest who sent you money. So that could be a money mule or a cyber criminal who's using you as a money mule. They say, oh, I'm going to send you this money. Oh, but then you know what? Actually, I need that because my car broke down. Could you send me back some of that? Again, it's just money laundering. But now it's happening online with people from across the world. And it goes from one bank to another bank within split seconds. So it's really important. And I'm going to add to the FTC's three items to remember. Just don't send money to strangers. Don't make financial transactions for a stranger. Remember my analogy about knocking on the door. All of a sudden, this check comes to your house and you just got $2,000 in unemployment benefits. Did you reach out to get unemployment benefits? Did you knock on their door first? No, you did not. So if someone knocks on your door with money or says, I've got money for you, or sends you money or put something in your bank account, they came to you first. So then you need to do your due diligence and find out where that came from and so what you need to do. So thanks to our partners at Google, we created scamspotter.org. That's scamspotter.org, which is a website that we created so that you could tell, am I in the middle of a scam? Is this really legit? And there's different kinds of scams. There's good news scams, like you won the lottery. Bad news scams, like COVID-19 is, taking over and people are hurt. And then there's romance scams that are talked about on there. And we teach people 3 golden rules to spot a scam. Number one, slow down, because there's usually an urgency to a scam. They'll say, oh, you have to react to this right now. This money needs to go to the right person. Hurry up and send it. You could get in trouble with the government if you don't send it quickly, they may say. Number 2, spot check. When someone comes to you first and says, I need you to do something related to money, take your time. Don't press any buttons. Go and look up the details, look up the organization, call your real bank, and see if it really is a scam. And then the third item on Scam Spotter is don't send gift cards as payment. Gift cards are only gifts. They're not a payment ahead of time. And just don't wire money to strangers. There's very few times when you would actually have to legitimately send money to a stranger. Hold on to your money. So it's important to be especially vigilant right now with all of the scams going around because of COVID-19. There's high unemployment rates, so you can expect the scams like this to pop up and to continue as the unemployment continues to grow. So to keep up with this scam and others, we have a COVID-19 scam blog, scam alert page on CSN, the cybercrimesupport.org site. And then again, if you are a victim of cybercrime or fraud, or someone in your family is, please visit fraudsupport.org to get help on how to recover, report, and then reinforce your security after the event happened. Please don't feel shameful about if you are a victim of cybercrime. It's happening to so many millions of people. About 1 in 4 American adults is a victim of cybercrime every year. You're not alone, but if you tell your story, you might help someone else from being a victim too. I'm Kristin Judge from the Cybercrime Support Network. Thank you for tuning in to this Cyber Tip Tuesday. We'll see you again next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 3 p.m., 3:05 p.m. Eastern. And then we're also going to add in a few more Cyber Threat Thursdays where I'll bring in a guest and talk about some of the current threats. So keep an eye on my LinkedIn and have a great rest of your week.